Welcome. NOAA issued its global climate report for 2020 middle of last month, and also the report for December of 2020 as well. And this video is a summary of both of those. Let's take a quick summary of what we're going to hear about today. 2020 ended up being in a strong La Nina. December was the 8th warmest December on record. 2020 was the second warmest year ranked by NOAA, the warmest year by the European group, and the second warmest year according to Berkeley. So all in all, I suspect it was the second warmest, but it was only the second warmest by 0.02 degrees centigrade. The conclusion overall is the Earth is still warming. We can confirm that the Earth is still warming by looking at the daily records that have been set around the globe and doing a little arithmetic. There's four categories here. Two in red are new maxima temperatures, one for daily and one for nighttime, and then there's the equivalent low temperature records on the right. So let's add these up. There have been 3,439 new daily highs set, compared with only 945 new daily lows. That's a ratio of 3.6 to 1 in favor of warming. In the last year, there's been 123,000 new daily highs set, compared with just 48,000 or nearly 49,000 new daily lows. That's a ratio of 2.5 to 1. So that says that the Earth is still warming, while the ratio favors the warming numbers. Well, 2020 was the second warmest year on record. This is the Berkeley Earth plot. You can see that the numbers are slowly increasing, and that the last point on there, which is 2020, is just below that of 2016. Note here the error bars on each one of these points. These are the uncertainties on those temperatures. You can see they're very, very small, at least compared with what they were like back in 1850. Note also that the baseline here is set for 1850 to 1900. That's different from most of the other baselines. So these numbers will look different from other analyses, but the trends are identical. You can see how close the ranking of the various years were when you look at these plots. These are the measured values and the uncertainties on those values. If you look at the full width at half maximum of these peaks, that's the uncertainty. And you can see that 2016 just noses out 2020 by a very, very small margin, less than the error bar. So 2016, 2020, 2019 seem to have separated themselves from the previous three warmest years, which is 2017, 2015, and 2018, and those stand apart from the rest of the years. Land temperatures seem to be rising about twice as fast as ocean temperatures. You can see here that actually 2020 was the warmest year on record as far as land temperatures were concerned, and that's really what concerns us. Temperatures have increased over the last 40 years. You can see that this is an absolute scale here in degrees centigrade, and some of the deep red areas have warmed by as much as 7 degrees centigrade. Now let's compare land and ocean temperatures. The blue here is the ocean temperature, the red is the land temperature. You can see that the land is warming actually probably more than twice the speed of the ocean temperatures, which is to be expected because there's a lot of thermal inertia in the oceans. You can see that La Nina is here. That's this area of cold water off the western coast of South America. Now how long this will continue is up for debate, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. You can take the trends of the warming over the last few years and project forward. So it would say that we'll be warmed by 2 degrees centigrade by 2063. However, more recent trends are somewhat larger and could actually increase that temperature by quite a significant amount. The interesting thing here is all the different models that come together to analyze global warming pretty much agree to within those error bars that I told you before. So there's not a lot of uncertainty in this particular result. So global warming is showing up and is being agreed to a very high degree of accuracy between many different groups that do this sort of data analysis. Here's my favorite matrix updated to include December. As you can see, December was the 8th warmest December on record, and that made 2020 the second warmest year rather than the first warmest year. If that had been consistent with the previous month, 2020 would have outshone 2016, which is quite remarkable because 2016 was a strong El Nino year and 2020 is a ENSO neutral to La Nina year, which is a cooling trend. So that just shows how fast global warming is taking off. As far as the upper atmosphere is concerned, I've got the UAH values here from Roy Spencer. You can see there's quite a large drop in December of 2020 for the upper atmosphere. Now his baseline is 1981 to 2010, which is different from other people's baselines. So you have to be a little bit careful here. This is a new type of map that we've not seen before. This actually shows the rate of warming as a function of MAP here. And it's measured with respect to the period of 1991 to 2020. You have to be careful here because this is the new baseline that I was telling you about last month. So that will tend to take 10 years of warming off the estimate, but the trends will be the same. You will note that there are record high trends in Alaska, northern Canada, Greenland, Scandinavia and Siberia, also off the east coast of the United States and the Middle East. However, there are some interesting areas of cooling. That spot just south of Greenland, for example, has been there for some time. The blue area off the west coast of South America is the evidence of La Nina, but there are also areas along the northern coast of Antarctica that are cool, just off the base of South America, South Africa and Australia to a lesser extent. Sea ice in general, in the northern hemisphere, the sea ice has continued its decline. In December of 2020, it was the third lowest on. That's 23 years in a row of below average sea ice extent. The same can't be said for the southern hemisphere. The Antarctic sea ice is about average for this last month, December of 2020. We've now got to the highest level of carbon dioxide in a December. That is 414.02 parts per million. Compared with last year, that's an increase of 2.26 parts per million. Now the thing that we're all worrying about is La Nina. How long will it be here and how bad will it get? At the moment it seems that the La Nina will stick around until about the spring and then go into ENSO neutral conditions for the rest of the year. Perhaps heading towards an El Nino towards the end of the year. So in summary then, 2020 was the second warmest year on record. December of 2020 was the 8th warmest December on record. We're in a strong La Nina, which is likely to decay into the spring of this year. Arctic sea ice continues to its decline. Antarctic sea ice is slightly above average. So until next time, stay safe and I'll see you again soon.